back to
the Zak
and Buzz
Review.
Okay, so what are we reviewing today?
Aha! It's something that you bought me.
I bought you.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be so many things.
Okay, here it comes. Patron.
Patron.
Yes, it is the
Ooh.
Anglo Arms OP360 pistol crossbow.
Damn. Okay.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
You got me this little puppy for Christmas.
I did.
Yeah. And
I'm a sucker for it.
I've been having a lot of fun. We, as you may already know,
Yes.
I teach English longbow, and I've done archery since I was a kid. You've grown up with archery, and again with the English longbow.
Yep.
And we use horse bows, and we also have full-size crossbows. But the pistol crossbow, we have only had one before, which
that was very low end.
yeah, very low end, and not impressed with it. But you saw that Anglo Arms, well, I say Anglo Arms was selling this. This is an Anglo Arms crossbow, but you can get them on the internet from lots of different suppliers.
Yes.
And they retail about £50 to £60.
Yeah, it depends on who you get it from.
That's pounds sterling.
Yes.
Because,
plus postage, of course.
because we also talk about pounds in the pull strength of bows.
Oh, yes.
And this is an £80.
£80 self-cocking pistol crossbow.
That's the thing, it's self-cocking. So, you got this for me, and I already put it together, so should we take a look at the crossbow itself?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's get rid of the box.
What are we waiting for? Let's go.
And kaboom, here it is. Okay, so it is, I don't know quite what it is. It's a type of resin. I don't know if it's what it's made of exactly. I don't know the specs on that. But you get a lot of this stuff these days. You know, I think a lot of airsoft guns and things are made out of this kind of.
Yeah, it's very equatable to an airsoft gun.
It's very easy to put together. It literally.
But don't use it for airsoft.
No. The actual bow itself, you have to put this in as a retaining bolt.
That's the limb or the retaining bolts.
So you put the limb in.
I'd say good advice for
underrest handle
for constructing it is do it with a friend.
Well, I put mine together by myself.
Okay.
But yeah, if you got something maybe to hold things, I don't know, might be added. But I'll put this together quite merrily. So the handle slides on, and there's two Allen key bolts holds that. It's got on the actual stock itself that slides in and out, and I've got that on its maximum for me. So it's in my shoulder for aiming. You have a standard sight setup, so you can slide the sight left and right, and you can go up and down, and you've got a little red, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, you've got the red dot sight at the front that you can aim with. Actually not too bad. Okay?
I like the safety mechanism on it.
Yeah. So when you actually self-cock this, and I won't cock it because you don't want to cock anything without actually having a bolt in there to fire, and we're obviously in the studio, but you've got a little button there, you press that down and that unlocks the stock. Hold the front, and then you pull this back
until it clicks,
and then plop that back in.
Which engages the safety mechanism,
mechanism,
which is actually ambidextrous, because on the other one that I had originally,
so this
it was just one side on the safety mechanism.
This one is both left and right,
which is actually really cool.
So it means that whether you're left or right-handed, job done. Anyway, I've been out. I went down our shooting range, and I took a bit of video. So should we look at it? Actually, you know, see how it performs.
Let's take this review outside.
Okay, so let's put a bolt in this and see how it shoots. So this is very straightforward. We'll show you the cocking mechanism in a moment, but for now, bolts. Now I use adapted Osprey pouches or similar, which are really handy for keeping your crossbow bolts in. I line them with a really tough hard card called millboard, which stops the points going out the bottom of the pouch itself. For the purpose of the video, I've got spare bowstring in there, and also in here I have the toolkit, which normally I'll have about the place, but not necessarily in with my bolts. Anyway, let's load this up. So starting off, let's cock it. Right, push the button down, and it's cocked. Bolt, and just slide straight in there. Make sure it's all the way back. Get ready to shoot, and nothing. It won't shoot because when you do the self-cock, it automatically puts the safety catch on. So as soon as you've cocked, put a bolt in, loaded the crossbow, you must take the safety off, and then boom, she goes. Right, let's have a few target rounds with this new little Anglo Arms self-cocking crossbow. Okay, so the first round that I did with these, I shot at around 30 feet. Some of these bolts aren't brilliant. So at 30 feet the bolts are getting buried into the target quite sturdily. There you go. Now, these I've been shot at 40 feet and they're still punching their way into this target quite merrily. So they're going in a good 4 inches into the target. So we're going to knock it back. Okay, well, as I say, targeting, maybe not quite so good at 80 feet, but that's my first go with this little one. Oh, I'm still getting the penetration into the target, even at 80 feet. Gosh. It certainly has got some poke. Oh, let me just turn the camera around so you can see where I've been shooting from. So, target here. Let's just swing this round. There we go. Okay, just over there, there's a chair, and that's where I've got the crossbow sitting on at the moment, so way over the other side of the camp, but still getting pretty good accuracy, and the power is still sinking the bolts into this target really well. Some of the bolts have I've seen them wibble as they've flown, so I don't know, that might be the flights, we shall see, but as far as the crossbow is concerned, it really has got some poke.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, I have to say, for a little piece of kit,
Yeah.
self-cocking, which makes a difference, for a price of around 50, 60.
It's very impressive. Very impressive for the price.
It packs a punch. Okay, now for the legality, let's just cover this. We're in the UK. Okay, so 100% zero bow hunting in the UK. So you can't use something like this for hunting. You can't use any bow in the UK for hunting. However, if you were wondering about the legalities of this, it's totally legal to buy and to own a crossbow in the UK. You do not need a license or any kind of registration. You must be over 18 though.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and of course you can't take this and carry it out in the open, and you can only use it for target shooting on private land or at a designated archery club, etc., etc. But yes, you can own them, and that's perfectly legal. So the performance was fine. I used it in the video over. I started off reasonably close at about 50 feet, and then I went out to around about 80 feet away from the target. And I actually found it was because I tend to not. I was using the sights on it, but I also am a bit of a natural archer. So what I tend to do is I tend to sight myself, loose the first bolt.
I get you.
And then say, oh, that went left, that went right, it went up, it went down, and I kind of like get the feel for it.
Brings back the old term, ye old guessing stick.
Yeah. Because I'm used to using it with the longbow, you know.
It's very practical. It's very compact. It's very versatile.
Very easy
I
to
really,
carry.
really do like this.
But there's kind of two parts to a crossbow.
Okay.
And that is the crossbow itself. Well, I say the two parts: crossbow itself and the bolts.
Okay.
Obviously, part of the crossbow is the actual bow string. I'm going to say that because I actually got a spare, so I'll bring that in. So I got a spare bowstring for it.
Again from Anglo Arms.
Anglo Arms, and that cost.
It was actually part of a multi-pack of various things. It came with some extra bolts as well.
But actually, I don't think it's very expensive.
No, it wasn't very expensive.
I bought a spare one for my horsebow. I think that was about $8.99. So I'm going to say this is probably less than that.
Yeah, considering I got, I think it was 2 packets of bolts and that for around £12 something. That was a good price.
But okay, so it's always good to have a spare bowstring, of course. You can also get lubrication sticks for them because obviously they take a bit of wear going up and down on the actual bed of the bow. Yes. So that's quite a handy little thing, and again, it's a £5 for something like that. But it's the bolts I want to talk about.
The bolts, okay.
Now the bolts that came with it, came with I think 2 bolts. as kind of tester bolts.
Two or three, I reckon. Yeah.
And then you bought me a big pack full.
Yeah, that was part of the bundle, and it's really interesting what happened with this.
Well, first of all, let's talk price. You bought a bundle, so were you talking about a pack of 12?
No, it's a pack of 12 bolts per pack.
Per pack.
So therefore, it'd be 20 bolts,
Okay.
and the string that
so
was
24 bolts.
That was around the £12 to £15 mark.
Right, so you're getting a lot of bolts for your money. Okay. Now these are the type of bolts that came with it.
Yes.
Okay, which are an aluminium shaft. It's got a screw-on tip. Okay, here, and then it has a plastic flight on that. Now, I've got a problem with these.
It's very interesting what happened with that. Yeah.
I've got a problem with these because this does pack a punch, as I say. Now I've tried this. I used it on the big archery target that we had down at the range.
Yeah.
I've used it on straw targets, archery targets.
To the same result.
Same results. They hit, and because the plastic flight has got a little tab that goes goes into the shaft, the impact snaps it off. So
you've got something over there. Do you want to
I will
bring in an
that's,
example?
Here, you can have that one.
Oh, thanks.
So here it is. So what you've got is this happening quite a lot. It just hits the target, and the force of the strike snaps the thing
Which
off.
then leaves you with
Just
one bolt down, and you can't use it.
Yeah, and they're not. I can't see any practical way of repairing them.
No.
So, and of course, the other thing is if they go through. Sometimes, if you get a soft part of the target and it goes through, then that rips them off as well. So these ones, not greatly impressed with them at all. However, I switched those over for this type, okay, which is 6.3 inch, full aluminium shaft. Okay, so comparing it back to that one, so you got the full aluminium shaft, and these are rubber flights on there.
Very akin to like your modern archery.
If you want to call them flights, fletchings, I don't know, not quite the same as fletching an arrow.
No.
They're glued on. Now these have been. I got these. I speak up in 24 for about 20 quid.
Okay.
Okay. 24 for 20 quid. A bit more expensive than the other ones.
Have you found them more resilient?
That's what I was going to say. Yes, they have been far better. I've not had the flights coming off in any way. They can't. They literally can't snap off. But they are rubber, and when they penetrate deep into the target, I have had a couple of these which have peeled back. You know, they've actually peeled
But
off.
obviously with that you can
that's the thing.
repair
The
things.
flights don't actually themselves get damaged.
No.
It just means that the adhesive which is holding them on the shaft
just get stripped off.
just gets stripped off. So if it's actually gone through the target, so all the ones that hit into the target normally, not a problem. But if you get a soft point on a target and it goes through, then it can peel one or both off. Now it's only happened to me 4 or 5 times out of those 24 bolts.
Yeah.
But as long as you can get the flights, then with just a little bit of resin glue, you can stick them back on again.
Of course, yeah.
So these ones
That's a no-brainer.
totally repairable.
Well, it's worth going that extra price point just to get that added durability.
Now there is another type of bolt, I believe, which you've had before in the early days, which is very similar to these ones.
Okay.
But rather than the alloy stem, they're just a full plastic bolt.
Yes. Now,
Metal tip, but plastic. Okay.
the problem I found with those is, for instance, if they hit like a bit of wood or something solid other than
Yeah. If they miss the target,
straw target, and they hit, for instance,
Same solid.
a tree, they will actually compact the shaft of the bolt into the head of the bolt, which
Right.
then makes it kind of
and the shaft comes off.
semi-unusable,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Although it's that area that's the problem. Yeah, because then you end up losing the tips.
So, kind of your happy medium
Happy
is
medium's that.
the full
one.
The full one.
If you want to go for cost-effective target shooting, I'm going to try the plastic ones out just for target shooting, because you can get a ridiculous amount. I think it's like 60 of those for 15 quid.
And I mean, that's the thing.
So
the big thing with this is when you suddenly have so many bolts, losing one or two doesn't become a critical loss of things because you have so many.
Yeah. Whereas when you have the larger full-size crossbows, the bolts become that much more expensive.
I think it's like over 20 quid for like 5.
So if you do lose them,
then
obviously if you're on a range, we on our range we have nets and we have targets that don't have nets. So for example, if you're shooting a target that's got nets, then you're less likely to lose anything. And obviously the more proficient you are at your archery, then generally you're hitting the target pretty much basically every time.
Yes.
You might not be getting a bullseye every time, but your targeting is in that zone. So then when you go and shoot on the open range where we might be using an animal target, so like one of the sort of animal shaped targets, we don't always have nets behind those, but if you miss, they bury themselves into the ground because they're low to the ground and things, so you're less likely to lose them. But what you've got to watch with crossbows, especially I think our ones, the big ones, are around £175.
Yeah, that is a beast. The problem I find with is that they take a lot to load, a lot of strength and effort to load, whereas this is fast and quick.
Yeah, so if you just want a bit of fun target shooting, I like it.
I mean, I enjoyed this so much.
Oh yes.
That I got one too.
Yay! Yeah, you got one too.
Now you may notice that I do have a tactical bipod on here.
You got the bipod.
There we go. That's actually pretty cool. That just tells them apart, and it was from an airsoft gun, so I thought, why not?
You've also found that whereas normally you cock it and you hold the front of this and cock it, you can actually do it with that.
If you have an extended grip on this front, like tactical rail here, you can actually fairly easily
cock it.
It's not cocked now, but very
so
durable.
Overall, these Anglo arms pistol crossbows, really pretty good.
Very smart, very good for the price, and they perform excellently.
I mean, since I've had this, which is since Christmas, so literally just over a month, I have been literally pommeling the targets with these with the bolts, and I haven't had a single issue with the actual crossbow.
So, for instance, if we were going to take this up a level, like to like the next, like a super duper pistol crossbow along the same lines, what kind of price would you be looking at?
I don't know. I have seen some which have a magazine on, which I think they do 6 shots.
Yeah.
So you cock it, it loads itself, shoot, cock it, shoot, cock. But they jump from this price range of £50 to £60 up to £200. There's a big jump.
And that is a massive jump just for those 6 shots.
For 6 shots.
And considering you have to then reload the 6 into the magazine to then go through the loading process.
I mean, if you've got one out there and you've got some advice, or you think that they are pretty cool, then
we would love to know. Please comment below,
because I'm tempted to get one, but I kind of think it's a lot of
money. An investment.
It's a lot of money to spend just for a 6 shot, and then you got to reload the magazine.
Whereas with this,
I think when you get into the rhythm,
you can it may take longer, but you can essentially load as many as you want in that same amount of time.
If you're just wondering about, okay, I have got 60 bolts, what am I going to do? Stuff them in my pocket or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a bit of advice here.
As you saw in the video, I used pouches like this Osprey pouch because they're just, it's a no-brainer. Yeah.
I mean,
you can have literally tons of the bolts in here.
Yeah.
And as long as you use a stiff liner on it so they don't poke out the bottom, and then you just put these on your tactical belt, and you can have them.
Bosh, and you're
so you can have these around your waist. And
as many as you want.
So it acts like a quiver. Okay, it acts like a quiver for the crossbow bolts. And once you get into the rhythm of cocking this, getting a bolt, slap it in there, shooting, bam, bam, bam,
bish bosh, bish
bosh,
bosh,
bish bosh,
Because there's also actually things you can attach to the rails, and that is like quivers of themselves.
Yeah, I think I've seen those, and I think I've seen arm ones as well.
Really? You've seen arm ones? I haven't seen
where
those.
You can have them and you can have the bolts on your arm.
So there are options out there. There are options out there.
There's one other thing actually that I've just reminded myself on this. Obviously, for safety, as you can see, it's not cocked, so I'm going to put a bolt into it. Okay, so the bolt is it's rested on top of the string for the moment, but you can see there's a little spring here which holds the bolt in place, so that when you turn it, it doesn't drop out of the crossbow. That was the only thing that I found that did wear over the past month. If you are loading the bolts at just a bit too high an angle, you end up forcing the spring up and up, and it becomes
Or a bit bent.
Well, it bends, and so therefore it doesn't press down on the bolt enough.
As effectively.
So after about a day's worth of shooting, I put a bolt in there, and then I just dropped it point downwards next to me and found the bolt slides out, which meant I just needed to get a pair of ball nose pliers on there and just bend that back down again. So my only advice is when loading, load the bolts in close to the bed of the bow. Don't come in at a high angle, otherwise you
just kind of make the most of the thing without having to.
Yeah, but just bear with it.
DIY
But it's not a problem because it's a very quick fix. You just need to bend that spring back down a little bit.
Yeah, but that was intensive use.
That was intensive use. So again, not bothered me at all. Quite happy with that. So yeah, great little piece of kit.
And Anglo Arms, thank you very much for providing such a useful and frankly amazing bit of kit.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. So it's very well made, and I am sure that if you choose to purchase one of these, you will get great pleasure out target shooting.
And your money's worth.
Yeah, definitely worth the money on this one.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to this channel and comment below any suggestions of further reviews you'd like to see.
See you in the next one. Yeah.